You're listening to the Fluid Druids Medicine Show on KUHS Hot Springs Solar Power Community Radio.
Warning, this show may be dangerous to closed minds.
I want to talk about Ireland. Specifically, I want to talk about the famine, about the fact that there never really was one. There was no famine. See, Irish people were only allowed to eat potatoes. All of the other food, meat, fish, vegetables, was shipped out of the country under armed guard to England while the Irish people starved. And then, in the middle of all this, they gave us money not to teach our children Irish. And so we lost our history, and this is what I think is still hurting me. You see, we're like a child that's being battered, has to drive itself out of its head because it's frightened, still feels all the painful feelings. But they lose contact with the memory, and this leads to massive self-destruction, alcoholism, drug addiction, all desperate attempts at running. And in its worst form becomes actual killing. And if there ever is gonna be healing, there has to be remembering and then grieving, so that there then can be forgiving. There has to be knowledge and understanding. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? An American Army regulation says you mustn't kill more than 10% of a nation, because to do so causes permanent psychological damage. It's not permanent, but they didn't know that. Anyway, during the supposed famine, we lost a lot more than 10% of our nation through deaths on land or in ships of emigration. But what finally broke us was not starvation, but its use in the controlling of our education. Schools go on about Black 47, on and on about the terrible famine. But what they don't say is, in truth, there really never was one.
Excuse me?
The lonely people.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Where do they all come from?
I can tell you in one word.
All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? So let's take a look, shall we? The highest statistics of child abuse in the EEC, and we say we're a Christian country, but we've lost contact with our history. See, we used to worship God as a mother. We're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Look at all our old men in the pubs. Look at all our young people on drugs. We used to worship God as a mother. Now look at what we're doing to each other. We've even made killers of ourselves, the most childlike, trusting people in the universe. And this is what's wrong with us. Our history books, the parent figures lied to us. I see the Irish as a race like a child that got itself bashed in the face. And if there ever is gonna be healing, there has to be remembering and then grieving, so that there then can be forgiving. There has to be knowledge and understanding. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all come
We stand on the brink of a great achievement. In this island, there is no solution to be found to our disagreements by shooting each other. There is no real invader here. We are all Irish in all our different kinds of ways. We must not now or ever in the future show anything to each other except tolerance, forbearance, and neighborly love.
Because of our traditions, everyone here knows who he is and what God expects him to do.
That was Sinead O'Connor with her song Famine. This week we're going to take a look at the Bardic arts, specifically history through music, Irish history through music. It is said in Ireland that the winners of the wars write the histories, but the poetry and the songs are written by the losers, by the common man. That's what we're going to be looking at today, is different songs that were written about things in Irish history that give viewpoints that maybe some people aren't aware of. So first, we're going to look at the Irish Famine. The song that started off our set by Sinead O'Connor, Famine, speaks right to that point, that there really wasn't a famine. Actually, there was lots of food, it's just that all the food was being taken by the English and sold in England, leaving nothing but what had previously been used for hog feed, potatoes, for the Irish to eat. Of course, much of that was engineered by English landlords because it was more profitable to clear the land and raise sheep than to allow the Irish tenant farmers to raise their crops. So it, much like today's economy and today's situations, it was greed that caused the famine, just as it is greed that causes many of our problems here today. So because of greed, many people packed up everything they had, sold out property they had, and used it to come to America, Australia, or other places, South America and Central America even. This is what's known as the Irish diaspora. And that's what we'll be hearing about next in Sinead O'Connor's Paddy's Lament.
Well, it's by the hush, me boys, and that's to mind your noise, and listen to poor Paddy's sad narration. I was by hunger stressed and in poverty distressed, so I took a thought I'd leave the Irish nation. Well, I sold me horse and cow, my little pig and sow, my father's farm of land. I then departed, and my sweetheart bid me gee. I'm afraid I'll never see, for I left her there that morning broken hearted. Hear ye, boys, now take my advice. To America I'll have yous not be coming. There is nothing here but war, where the murdering cannons roar. And I wish I was at home in dear old Dublin. Well, myself and 100 more to America sailed o'er, our fortunes to be making, we were thinking. When we got to Yankee land, they put guns into our hands, saying, Paddy, you must go and fight for Lincoln. Hear ye, boys, now take my advice. To America I'll have yous not be coming. There is nothing here but war, where the murdering cannons roar. And I wish I was at home in dear old Dublin. General Marr to us he said, If you get shot or lose your head, every mother's son of yours will get a pension. Well, in the war I lost my leg, and all I know is a wooden peg. By my soul, it is the truth to you I mention. Hear ye, boys, now take my advice. To America have you not becoming? There is nothing here but war, where the murdering cannons roar. And I wish I was at home in dear old Dublin. Well, I think myself in luck if I get fed on Injun buck. And old Ireland is a country I delight in. To the devil I would say, God curse America, for in truth I've had enough of their hard fighting. Hear ye, boys, now take my advice. To America I'll have you not becoming. There is nothing here but war, where the murdering cannons roar. And I wish I was at home in dear old Dublin. I wish I was at home. I wish I was at home. I wish I was at home in dear old Dublin.
That was Paddy's Lament by Sinead O'Connor. Today, we're taking a look at the bardic arts, specifically history as told through music. And we've been looking at the Irish Famine. Next up, about the Irish Famine, is The Dunes by Ronnie Drew and Shane McGowan.
I walked today on the cold grey shore where I watched when I was much younger, where they built the dunes upon the sand, for the dead from the great hunger, for the dead from the great hunger. Although I was a doctor's son, I gazed in fear and wonder as they perished from the raging plague that come in with the great hunger, that come in with the great hunger. When I watched at the age of 4 in 1847, the mounds they built upon the shore, they seemed to point to heaven, they seemed to point to heaven. With the wind and the rain they have worked away, the dunes they are all uneven. The children kick the sand around, and the bones they are revealed then, and the bones they are revealed then. My brothers and my sisters died, my mother only 4 and 20, and I alone survived to see the potatoes grow in plenty, the potatoes grow in plenty. As we died in vain, they stole our grain to put upon their tables. The dying covered the dead with sand, and danced while they were able, and danced while they were able. While the fiddler played, we drank poteen, and ate the last of the berries, then knelt and said the rosary, round the mound of dead we'd buried, round the mound of dead we'd buried. I saw dark shadows rise up from the sand, dance all around the dune, and they danced the rattling dance of the dead to a set of mournful tunes, to a set of mournful tunes. A crack of lightning split the sky, the rain on the dunes it poured. I left them lying where I shut them down, the bailiff and the landlord. Then I went for a drink in Westport. I walked today on the cold grey shore where I watched when I was much younger, where I built the dunes upon the sand for the dead from the great hunger, for the dead from the great hunger.
That was The Dunes by Ronnie Drew and Shay McGowan.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
So, Harry, you ever tried putting a pineapple in your hiney?
Nope, Seymour, but I put an apple in my hiney, and I kind of liked it.
You know, want something that'll really perk you up? Mm-hmm. Try putting a jalapeno pepper in your hiney. I did, and listen, it was great.
Yeah, I got an idea. What about putting a coconut in your hiney?
I like it. Let's drink to that. Coconut.
Jalapeno.
Whether you're holding a red hiney, a dry hiney, or a white hiney, you can be assured it's a great wine. Try some hiney tonight and find out why hiney wine has won 5 medals and 2 trophies in some of the most prestigious competitions. Next time you buy wine, look for the label with the hiney pickers on it. And remember, you only go around once in life. Grab for all the hiney you can get.
Needless to say, during the famine, the crime rate was pretty high. Starving people get pretty desperate. And when that happens, they get arrested. Well, our next song is called Back Home in Derry by Christy Moore. And it's about one of these convicts that's being shipped off to Van Diemen's Land, also known as New Zealand.
In 1803 we sailed out to sea, out from the sweet town of Derry. For Australia bound, if we didn't all drown, the marks of our feathers we carried. In our rusty iron chains we cried for our wains, our good women we left in sorrow. As the mainsails unfurled, our curses we hurled on the English and thoughts of tomorrow. At the mouth of the foil, bid farewell to the soil, as down below decks we were lying. O'Doherty screamed, woken out of a dream, by a vision of bold Robert dying. The sun burned cruel as we dished out the gruel. Dan O'Connor was down with a fever. 60 rebels today, bound for Botany Bay. How many will reach their receiver? Them to hell as our bow fought to swell. Our ship danced like a moth in the firelight. White horses rode high as the devil passed by, taking souls to Hades by twilight. 5 weeks out to sea, we were now 43. We buried our comrades each morning In our own slime we were lost in the time, endless night without dawn. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Van Diemen's Land is a hell for a man to end out his whole life in slavery, where the climate is raw and a gun makes the law. Neither wind nor rain care for bravery. 20 years have gone by, I've ended my bond, but comrades go so walk behind me. A rebel I came, I'm still the same. On the cold winds of night you will find me. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in
As we already saw in the song Paddy's Lament, many of the Irishmen that came over during the potato famine were forced into the Civil War. And even after the war, they didn't really have a penny to their name because they were just dropped where they were with no money and not really much of anything they could do about it. This leads into our next song, The Lakes of Pontchartrain by Paul Brady.
'Twas on one bright March morning I bid New Orleans adieu, and I took the road to Jacksontown, my fortune to renew. I coursed all foreign money, no credit could I gain, which filled my heart with longing for the lakes of Pontchartrain. I stepped on board of a railroad car beneath the morning sun. I rode the rods till evening, and I laid me down again. All strangers there, no friends to me, so the dark girl towards me came, and I fell in love with the Creole girl by the lakes of I said to me pretty Creole girl, me money here's no good, and if it weren't for the alligators I'd sleep out in the wood. You're welcome here, kind stranger, our house is very plain, and we never turned a stranger out on the banks of Pontchartrain. treated me right well. The hair upon her shoulders in jets like ringlets fell. To try to paint her beauty, I'm sure 'twould be in vain. So handsome was my Creole girl by the banks of Pontchartrain. I asked her if she'd marry me. She said this could never be, for she had got a lover and he was far at sea. She said that she would wait for him, and true she would remain till he'd return to his Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. So fare thee well, me bonny own girl, I never may see you more. But I'll ne'er forget your kindness in the cottage by the shore, and at the social gathering of flowing glass I'll drink, and I'll drink a health to me Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain.
That was The Lakes of Pontchartrain by Paul Brady. Today, we're looking at the bardic arts, specifically Irish history as expressed in Irish music. Like I said earlier, there's an old Irish saying that the winners of the wars create the history, write the history books. That is the common man that actually writes the poems and the songs that show us what things were like in their lives at the time in a way that written history just cannot adequately express. In our last segment, we've been looking at Irish history and looking at the Irish famine specifically. Next, we're going to go past the famine and cover a time period leading up to the Irish Rebellion of 1916. In this segment, we'll be looking at Irish music, expressing the things going on during the Irish Rebellion and the Irish Independence Movement. First up is Christy Moore with If They Come in the Morning.
It's a law that they make to keep you and me where they think we belong. They hide behind steel, bulletproof glass, machine guns and spies. And they tell us to suffer the tear gas and torture, the weird and the wrong. No time for love if they come in the morning. No time to show tears for fears in the morning. No time for goodbye, no time to ask why. and the sound of the sirens, the cry of the morn. They suffered the torture, they rotted themselves when crazy wrote letters and died. The limits of pain they endured, but the loneliness got them instead. The court gave them justice, as justice is given by a well-mannered house. Sometimes they fought for the will to survive, more times they wished they were dead. No time for love if they come in the morning, no time to show tears for fears in the morning. No time for goodbye and no time to ask why. And the sound of the sirens, the cry of the morn. They took away Sacco, Vanzetti, Bobby Seale, the Black Panthers as well. They came for Patsy O'Hara, Francis Hughes and his friends. In Boston, Chicago, Saigon, San Diego, the Buckside and Belfast. And places that never make headlines, the list never ends. And no time for love if they come in the morning, no time to show tears if for fears in the morning. No time for goodbye and no time to ask why. And the sound of the sirens, the cry of the morning. The trade union leaders, the writers, the fighters, with the rebels and all. And the women who fought with the scabs at the factory gates. Sons and the daughters of unnumbered heroes who paid with their lives. And the people whose class or creed or belief was their only mistake. And no time for love if they come in the morning, no time to show tears if for tears in the morning. No time for goodbye and no time to ask why. And the sound of the sirens, the cry of the morn.
That was Christy Moore with If They Come in the Morning. There was a lot of stuff like what was discussed in that song going on in Ireland when the Easter Rebellion began. The British decided in the 1800s that they were going to make Ireland part of a unified kingdom with England and take away the Irish rights. Well, that didn't stand too well, and even though a lot of the British tried to recruit Irish, there weren't a lot of Irish joining the British Army, as you can see in our next song. This is Join the British Army by the Brobdingnan Bards.
When I was young, I had a twist of punching babies with my fist. And then I thought I would enlist and join the British Army. A tooraloo-a-loo-a-loo, they're looking for monkeys up in the zoo. And if I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. When I was young, I used to be as fine a lad as ever you'd see in the Prince of Wales. He said to me, come join the British Army. A tooraloo-a-loo-a-loo, they're looking for monkeys up in the zoo. And if I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. And baked a cake. It was all for poor old Slattery's sake. I threw myself into the lake, pretending I was Tommy. A tooraloo-a-loo-a-loo, they're looking for monkeys up in the zoo. And if I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. Corporal Duff got such a drought, just give him a couple of jars of stout. He'll kill the enemy with his mouth and save the British Army. Tooraloo-a-loo-a-loo, they're looking for monkeys up in the zoo. And if I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. A curse upon the Labour crew that took my darling boy from you to join the British Army. Captain Healy went away, his wife got in the family way, and the only words that she would say was blame the British Army. Tooraloo-a-loo-a-loo, I made my mind up what to do. I'll work my ticket home to you and salute the British Army.
Despite the Irish attitude towards the English and what the English had done to them, they insisted on trying to recruit folk, which wasn't real safe for the British. There was a lot of times they would try to recruit somebody and push things a little bit too far and get their butts whooped, to put it bluntly, as we'll see in our next song. This is Arthur McBride by Paul Brady.
Oh, me and me cousin one out for Mike Bride as we went walking down by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning. Out for recreation we went on a tramp, and we met Sergeant Napper and Corporal Bamp, and a little wee drummer intending to camp, for the day being pleasant and charming. Good morning, the sergeant did cry, and the same to you gentlemen, and we did reply, intending no harm, but meant to pass by, for it being on Christmas morning. But says he, my fine fellow, if he will enlist, it's 10 guineas in gold that will slip in your fist, and a crown in the bargain for to kick up in the dust and drink the king's health in the morning. For a soldier he leads a very fine life, and he always is blessed with a charming young wife, pays all his debts without sorrow or strife, and always lives pleasant and charming. And a soldier he always is decent and clean, in the finest of buffalo, then he's constantly seen, while other poor fellows were dirty and mean, and sup on thin gruel in the morning. Well, says Arthur, I wouldn't be proud of your clothes, for you've only the land of them, as I suppose, and you dare not change them one night, for you know if you do, you'll be flogged in the morning. And although that we are single and free, we take great delight in our own company, and we have no desire strange faces to see, although that your offers are charming, and we have no desire to take your advance. All hazards and dangers we bar to run chance, for you would have no scruples for to send us to France, where we would get shot without warning. Oh, now, Sister Sergeant, I'll have no such chat, and I neither will take it from spouting or brat. For if you insult me with one other word, I'll cut off your heads in the morning. And then Arthur and I, we soon drew our hubs, and we scarce gave them time for to turn all their own blades. The trusty shillelagh came over their heads and bade them take it at its fair warning. And their old rusty reapers hung by their side, we flung as far as we could in the tide. Now take them out, devils, cried Arthur MacBride, and temper their rage in the morning. And the little wee drummer, we flattened his pal, and we made a football of his rowdy dow-dow. Threw it in the tide for to rock and to roll, and bade it a tedious returning. And we haven't no money, paid them off in cracks, and we paid no respect to their two bloody backs, for we lathered them there like a pair of wet sacks, and left them for dead in the morning. And so to conclude and to finish disputes, we obligingly asked if they wanted recruits, for we were the lads who would give them hard clouts and bid them look sharp in the morning. Cousin one Arthur MacBride, as we went walking down by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what to betide, for it being on Christmas morning.
Naturally, the English oppressors wouldn't stand for the Irish standing up to them like that. So they went on a rampage. They would kill men, women, children, all in the name of the war against the Irish. And our next song is The Wind That Shakes the Barley, which is a classic song about the Irish oppression. That was Sinead O'Connor and the Chieftains, the Foggy Dew. Next, we'll be listening to Grace by the Wolf Tones. And it's about Grace Clifford, who married Joseph Plunkett, the Irish nationalist, poet, journalist, and one of the leaders of the 1916 Easter Rising. This death fell hours before his execution.
As we gathered in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I think about these past few weeks. Oh, will they say we failed? From our school days they have told us we must yearn for liberty. Yet all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these great men, my love for this dear land. So when Auric called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walk out, my thoughts will be with you. And I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I love so much that I could see his blood upon the road. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Now there won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye.
Well, we've come to the end of today's show. I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day, and may your gods be with you.